Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another segment of the Jboy Show. We're here at Radio Row. Very excited to be here for our first official SEC Media Day, and very excited to bring on my friend Jim Dunaway from the next round. It's poppin'. Him, Lance, Ryan got it going. Jim, it's really great to have you again.
Oh, it's great to be here. Your first official one here. It's my 29th official one here. Can you see the age difference on camera here? A little bit?
Yeah, just a tad.
Just a tad.
You're looking good, Jim.
Well, thank you. I mean, I was here when Jackie Sherrill and Gene Stallings were coaching, right? And Jay Barker and his national championship, something like 4 of 12 passing would win a national championship. We've changed a lot in the SEC since 1992.
Definitely. And you know what? Not only that with the coaches and the style, but the offenses, like you watching the evolution of the offense, and even, you know, me in the last, I mean, you look at the last 7 to 10 years, it's been, you know, a crazy change. And football's cyclical. In 30 years, everybody will be running the wing T and triple option again. But how interesting is it to keep seeing offenses evolve and really starting to continue to spread out?
Well, you know, and I've seen it, the program I'm closest to, Alabama, I've seen it really happen there. You know, they've won all their national championships with Nick Saban, and even back to Gene Stallings and Bear Bryant with an array of different offenses. The wishbone. Back in the day with Bear Bryant, you had Gene Stallings running just your 3 yards in a cloud of dust, let's lean on the defense, and Nick started out a certain way. And then he brought in Lane Kiffin and a desire to change and spread it out and use the advantages of the rules you've got in offenses in college to deceive a defense. And they have mastered that recently, the numbers they put up. So I think that's what makes college football so much fun. If you turn on the red zone on Sunday and you watch every screen, you see a lot of the same offenses. But you can bounce around in college football in one window and see 4 or 5 different ways to play the game. And I've always loved that about college football.
Yeah, that's a great point. The reason they call it pro style, because then look, it's a copycat league. You know, everybody's taking something from somebody. And, you know, Nick Saban came out when he was in Texas and talked about Bryce Young almost making 7 figures. I look at that, it's a recruiting play. Do you see the same?
I do, but I think that will be a real number because I do know of some people who have reached out to Bryce and trying to get him to do some stuff. So, you know, I think that is approaching a real number, but is it a recruiting ploy? Yeah. And I think you just get the reaction from Lane Kiffin yesterday as he got that piece of news. It seemed like in real time when he was up in front of the microphone, he didn't want to comment because if he comments one way, he makes Bryce Young and Alabama mad and it's bulletin board material. If he comments one way, then are you saying you don't think you can get that for your guy at Ole Miss? If he comments another way, you know, maybe he ends up, I'm against, having $1 million quarterback before he even plays the game. So Lane Kiffin did the best thing Lane Kiffin could do. He was like, I'm floored. I really can't say anything. And for Lane Kiffin to be speechless, I think that shows you what that number is. And I do think it was a recruiting ploy. And you've seen a lot of that this week here.
Yeah, and you know, Lane at the end of the day is an interesting individual. Was in here and out of here during media days. And looking at this Alabama team, Jim, you know, they are young. They're going to be young up front with some talent, but we know how talented the guys are that Nick Saban brings in. What's one position group that you're really honing in on to see early? And they got a good test against Miami early, which I'm taking Alabama minus 16 and a half. I said that before the line changed. It's on tape. It will live forever.
Okay, so you got Miami?
No, I got Bama minus 16 and a half. What position group are you interested to look at? I got Bama minus 16 and a half.
I'm more worried. You're confusing me because I'm more worried about that betting line there because I lost last night with the Suns as we record this.
That did look like a sucker bet for the Bucks, though. I could give you that. I didn't bet it, but it did look like a sucker bet for the Bucks, and you would think the NBA would want 7 games.
Yeah, I went with the 5, so I'm interested in following Jboy's the plays here throughout the football season because I'll be all over that. Position group for Alabama, offensive line for me. They were so good last year. They have been so dominant on the offensive line. Every year they win a national championship. They replace a lot of talent. They got some great recruits in. How quick can Marrone get those guys up to championship level? To me, you know, I trust Bryce Young. Hasn't played a lot, hasn't played almost any with the big bright lights on. But that offensive line, if they're up to SEC, they don't have to be the best in the SEC. If they're just up to the ability to win a championship, then hats off to Doug Marrone. And I think that offensive line could help a young Bryce Young and a very deep and talented running back crew. So to me, it's the O-line.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% because, again, the game's won up front, whereas Alabama made the most strides compared to everybody else up front. A&M's trying to do the same thing. Everybody else trying to do the same thing. And I'm going to invent a game on the spot here called One Caveat, which means I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to make one caveat to the answer. Okay. All right, so give me a dark horse team in the SEC, whether it's East or West, and I'm not saying to win the East or West, that is going to have a better year than what people think. The one caveat is you can't pick Ole Miss.
And I can't pick Ole Miss. Well, then I'm instantly going to go to the East. Okay. And I'm going to go to Missouri, and it's going to be with Connor Bazelak at quarterback. I think he's a quarterback that we'll talk more and more about as we watch him play. The question comes to me is, will they have the receivers to highlight his arm? I think their run game has always been good for Missouri since they joined the league. I think their front seven play on defense until last year had been surprisingly good. If they can get back with a new coaching change on the defensive side of the football to play Missouri, I can't believe I'm saying this, to play Missouri style defense.
You got it out.
Yes. I think Missouri could surprise somebody and finish second in the East.
Yeah. Well, we had Drinkowitz on. We're releasing it this week. He's confident. He tells a story about the SEC head coaches meeting, Jim, that you're going to want to tune into because there's a little chip on the shoulder there at Missouri, and they do feel like their quarterback's getting disrespected. But speaking about respected, there's nobody more respected in the game than Jim Dunaway, and what you guys are doing in the next round, I absolutely love it. Tell everybody where they can find it because there's a lot of exciting things going, and, man, I love seeing you out in this in this space.
For 2 more days, you can find us in the former McMillan's Big and Tall in the mall. But then after that, we'll be on all the social media platforms. Next Round Live. Live shows return August 16th.
Awesome. Jim, it's always great to talk to you, my friend. I know we're going to do this a lot. Congrats on all the success. Yes, sir. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another segment of the Jboy Show. We are here with, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the country, Matt Corral from Ole Miss. Matt, I appreciate you taking some time, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
Definitely. I know you're excited. Again, offensively, the stuff you all ever do last year. I know this year, Braylon Sanders coming back, Mingo, all those guys. How excited are you for another year under the lane train to get it rolling on O, baby?
I'm looking forward to it. We're working harder than ever, especially as a team, especially as a unit. And I think that matters the most. The individual work's good, but ultimately we're going to have to go do it together. So, the more we can do it together, the better we'll be.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I know it seems the standard and the expectation has been raised at Ole Miss since you got there. Ole Miss fans, buddy of mine, Barstow Mincy, all those guys are really excited about this football season. What can you tell Ole Miss fans to expect from you guys? Because you're a team leader and you set the tone. What tone are you going to set this year?
Really, man, we're going to be a team that's not going to take anything. I can't say what I want to say.
I love that.
And we're going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Definitely. And Matt, being in that offensive system and the freedom that you have with Coach Kiffin and Coach Levy, and they talk about your preparation all the time. And there's a lot of talented quarterbacks out there athletically, but what separates them is the preparation. Just for a second, talk about how you prepare and how that separates you when you get out there.
So 5 a.m. I wake up at 5 a.m. I get there at 5:15. We usually run at 6:30. So from 5:15 to 6:30, I'm drawing on the board. It's coverages versus our plays. Draw the plays, draw the coverage. Where am I going in this coverage, in this play, in this specific look? And then afterwards, we go run, go do our lift. After that, we're throwing or watching film, whichever we have picked that day. And then after all that, I go eat, come back, and I'm come back around 2:30. And I'm from 2:30 to around 3:30. I'll have the offense there. We'll be going through the script. So we get a script every Monday and Wednesday. And we'll be going through the script so we can get ready for the team that we have scheduled the next day. So we're not messing up tomorrow. Yeah, so we can just get the ball rolling then. And after all that, I go back into the meeting room and watch film with the GA.
Yeah, there's no base installs when fall camp hits, baby.
No, sir.
Well, Matt, number one, man, congratulations on all the success. I really enjoy watching you guys. My last question for you is, what is it like playing for Lane Kiffin and you guys' relationship? Because you guys get fired up, but y'all just have great chemistry. I talk about the rapport between you, Coach Levy, and Coach Kiffin. What's your relationship with Coach Kiffin?
It's one of a kind, really. It is one of a kind.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. Me, Levy, and Kiffin are, it's kind of like a good cop, bad cop. Levy's always, Levy's gonna tell me how he feels.
Yeah,
definitely. Levy's gonna tell me how he feels. But Kiff, he's always wanted to build me up, and so always support me, and obviously Lev does too.
Yeah.
But when it's time to get hard on me, they're gonna do it. But they're definitely a great support system, and I trust them obviously, and I think that's a big thing, and they trust me.
Yeah.
So just working under those circumstances, it can only make me grow into sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, Matt, it was an honor to have you, brother. Congratulations again on all the success. Really look forward to you this year. We'd love to get you back on the Jboy Show, man, after all the wins you guys are going to get.
Thank you guys for having me.
Definitely. Hey, make sure you check us out at thejboyshow.com. We got Matt Corral here. Matt, the Golden Corral. That's a little NIL sponsor, even though it looks like you haven't been at Golden Corral too much. But make sure you go to thejboyshow.com, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. We really appreciate it. Let's go win the water cooler, baby. They're doing it in Oxford. We're out. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another segment of the Jboy Show. Super excited to have one of the legends. We've had him on the show, got an unbelievable response, and that's Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart. I'm going to let him plug all the things he's doing. Mr. Barnhart, it's an honor to talk to you. You're one of the best.
Good to be with you again. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Well, it's Media Day. We're here. We're actually here at Media Day. Sometimes I got to wake up and walk down here and see that, it's here. But now that we're here, it's a stepping stone to the college football season. Just talk about the excitement building up, because I've never seen anything like the pin-up demand, and knock on wood, everything goes okay.
It's funny, when I was getting ready to leave yesterday home, my wife says, "You're really excited about this, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I am, because we didn't have a media days last year. Matter of fact, this time last year, we didn't know we were going to have a football season."
That's very true.
And when you don't have something like we didn't have media days, you don't realize how much you missed it. This is the event that sort of kickstarts our engine to sort of get going towards college football, and we missed it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they just woke up one day and said, "Okay, we're going to play starting September 26th. See you then."
Yeah.
And so to have everybody back here to get to talk to people in person, the room here and elsewhere is really exciting.
Yeah. I'm just glad not to be on a Zoom call doing this right now. I feel like I could teach a class on Zoom, not Zumba, Zoom. So let's make sure we get that straight.
Let me tell you a funny story about
Please,
Zoom.
go ahead.
My very first Zoom, because I didn't know what Zoom was. When they closed down the world in March of last year, I didn't know what Zoom
I thought
was.
It was a kid show from back in the day.
No, I thought it was a breakfast cereal. I mean, that's what I thought it was. And so I'm up there, and I'm on, and I got my little box there with my picture in it, but my name is upside down. And I'm trying to fix it, and I can't do it. Then all of a sudden, my 8-year-old granddaughter walks into the room. She says, "What are you doing, G-Dad?" I said, "Sloan, my name's upside down." "Oh, I can fix that." She took the mouse and said, "There are 3 dots here, and you click that, and you click that," and she turned it around. So everything I know about Zoom, I learned from my 8-year-old granddaughter.
Yeah.
So.
Well, to be honest with you, I've just had to literally do it so much, and you can ask Conan and all the production team. I am not a technological savant by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we're getting by okay. Tony, I want to talk about Georgia first, obviously. And I've talked about it, JT and the wide receiver core and the defense and adding the guys in the portal. Let's talk about this offensive line, because there are some new faces there. Amarius Mims, to me, is one of the best-looking prospects out of high school you've seen, or I've seen, that I think a lot of people have seen in a while. How do you feel about Georgia's offensive line this year?
Well, 3 out of 5 starters are coming back, but you got to remember how well they have recruited.
Yeah.
At that, I mean, this roster's got Sam Pittman's fingerprints all over it. Okay, he recruited very, very well before he left town, and so they're going to have a good offensive line, and they've got one of the deepest running back rooms of all of college football. So I think the offensive line is going to be fine.
Yeah, and Matt Luke, to me, is one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. And at the end of the day, you said Sam Pittman again. Still the fingerprints are on the offensive line. But when you look at this roster, and Tony, you've covered this for a long time, seen a lot of Georgia rosters. This is about as good of one as I've seen from the top to the bottom. How does it compare to some you've seen?
Well, again, it checks all the boxes. We talked about the offensive line. The running backs, I mean, they go from Zamir White to Kendall Milton to James Cook and on and on and on. Obviously, they have the elite quarterback that everybody wants, that they certainly could have used earlier in the season. The defense is going to be good. They were concerned about the secondary. Boom. Thank you, transfer portal. We solved the problem. Wide receiver, is George Pickens going to get back before the season's over? We don't know, but if he doesn't, they've recruited well enough at that position. So this is a deep, talented Georgia. I told a Georgia fan the other night, how are they going to do? I said, Georgia is good enough. They're talented enough to win every single game they play. And the guy went, "Well, that's not good enough. We got to go to the playoffs." I said, "Well, if you win all your games, you'll be there."
Yeah, and it shows you that the expectation level is reaching Saban level, and they just got to get over that hump. I think they do it this year, Tony. But I want to talk about the West for a second while I have you here. We're going to talk about Alabama, and we know they reload, they replace and reload. But if you look at Ole Miss, to me, and defensively, their personnel last year was not where it needed to be. They've added some pieces. if they're able to get some turnovers in a game and a couple stops, they could sneak up and beat somebody they're not supposed to, don't you think?
No, absolutely. That is the key, is getting the right amount of turnovers and putting in position to win. Yeah.
And again, I'm very interested to see they can't be much worse than they were last year defensively. But when you look at Auburn and Brian Harsin coming in, he'll be here later in the week. The personnel that he inherited, how do you project right now? And again, preseason, how do you feel about this first year?
Well, Brian Harsin, first of all, is a very good football coach, and he did what you have to do when you come from another part of the world into the SEC. You hire guys that have coached in the SEC and know how the game is played and that recruiting is hand-to-hand combat. Okay, so he goes out and he hires Mike Bobo to run his offense, to be the quarterback coach, hires Derek Mason, who was a great defensive coordinator at Stanford before he became head coach at Vanderbilt. And those guys are going to play a very, very important role. Will Friend, one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, comes with Bobo. So that's what he has done. Now, the key at Auburn, in my mind, is can Mike Bobo and Brian Harsin make Bo Nix into a consistent SEC quarterback? He's a talented SEC quarterback, we know that, but can he be consistent, particularly when they go on the road? And that's going to be the key. Right now, I've got Auburn fifth. I got Auburn fifth behind Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss. I got Auburn fifth. They can improve on that if they get better quarterback play, because I love Tank Bixby, the running back. I think he's really good.
Yeah, that kid. And if your name's Tank, you got to be good at something. And, we talk about Bo Nix and potential all the time. Well, Enron had potential, and we see how that goes. They've got to be able to fixate it and get it work. My last question for you, we're here with Tony Barnhart. Do you think Texas A&M is starting to maybe close the gap a little bit? Because I look, and if they get good quarterback play, defensively, Mike Elko to me is the most underrated DC in the country.
That's exactly right. They recruited at a very high level. If Kellen Mond was coming back on this team, if Kellen Mond had not used up his 9 years of eligibility and was back on this team, now we're looking at it differently. Now, Haynes King is going to be the quarterback at Texas A&M, and he is a very talented athlete, and we know what Jimbo Fisher can do with quarterbacks. He doesn't have to be good on day one, but he does have to be good by October 9th when Alabama comes to College Station. The question is, will he be? Otherwise, I love Isaiah Spiller. I love they need a few pieces on the offensive line, just talking to people. But I do. That's why I've got them second. I don't think they're good enough to beat Alabama. Maybe they could in College Station, but right now I've got Texas A&M second.
Man, it's always a beautiful conversation when we talk, Mr. Tony. I really appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can find your amazing work. If you like college football content, listen to what he's about to say if you're not already, which you should be.
Well, we are on, me and three of my old newspaper buddies started a website 3 years ago. It's called TMG, that stands for the Media Guides. Yes, sir. Sports Illustrated came to us and said, we'd like to do business with you. So we are under their umbrella. So to get to our website, you go to si.com/colleges/TMG. si.com/colleges/TMG. We've got guys covered all over the country, and we have a blast.
Yes, sir. Well, as usual, it's always great to speak with you, Mr. Tony. I really appreciate the time and look forward to doing it again. And thank you guys as well for more great content like this. Subscribe to Jboy Show, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and our Twitter handle is back at the Jboy Show. Didn't lose any followers. That's love, people. LOVE. For Tony Barnhart, I'm Jake Crain. Let's keep winning the water cooler, everybody. We'll talk soon.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, Technical Director Dave Hammock, Creative Director David Culbertson, Audio Engineer Feyzan Shareef, Production Assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, Executive Producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with the Jboy Show.